We've all seen them, the women who have it all together. While most people are stuck in cycles of overthinking, procrastination, and burnout, they move with clarity, confidence, and direction. It's tempting to believe that they were just born different, more confident, more disciplined, and that they just got lucky. But the truth is, the women at the top, the 1%, they just aren't following the same rules as everyone else. They've built lives that reflect intention, not chaos. They've built them not by doing more, but by doing what actually matters. So this video isn't about some basic habits or hustle culture cliches. It's about the uncommon, sometimes uncomfortable, research-backed habits that truly separate the exceptional women from the average. If you want to think differently, move differently, and become the type of woman that is impossible to ignore, you start here. Most women set goals. They say things like, I want to be more confident, I want to be more fit. And for a while, they try. They wake up early, they go to the gym, they have this whole new routine. But eventually, the motivation fades and the old habits return. Because you don't become successful by chasing goals. You become successful by deciding who you are. The women in the top 1% think differently. They don't just think, what do I want to achieve? They think, who do I want to become? And that changes everything. She doesn't aim to try to work out more. She just becomes the kind of woman who shows up for herself and doesn't let herself down. She just is the kind of woman who finishes what she starts. Because that's just who she is. And this shift from goal setting to identity shaping is what makes the shift between temporary change and lasting transformation. This is identity-based living. According to research from Stanford's Behavior Design Lab, habits tied to identity are far more sustainable than habits tied to outcomes. Why? Because when your actions are aligned to who you believe you are, consistency stops being a struggle. You don't have to force it. You simply show up in alignment with your standards. The 1% woman doesn't obsess over goals. She embodies the identity that naturally achieves them. So right now, take out a journal and write down who you want to become. Not just what goals you want to reach. This is not a list. Think about, how does this person show up? Write down the daily routine of this person and write it in the present tense. Think about how this ideal woman would show up in her daily life and think about what choices she would make. If she has something that she knows she needs to do, like working out, but she doesn't really feel like it, does she go work out or not? If you're ready to take these habits and apply them to your own life, then you found a perfect channel, so make sure to subscribe for more content like this. One of the most powerful habits of top 1% women is that they know how to protect their energy. They learn how to stop explaining themselves to others. They don't attend every event, they don't reply to every message or just say yes, just to avoid guilt. They understand that energy is like a currency. And every yes you give to someone else is a no you give to yourself. If you're giving your time to someone else, of course you cannot spend that time doing something you want to do more. The very weird thing is that women are taught since a young age to not be difficult. But the 1% women see it differently and they're not afraid to show that. They know that constantly overextending yourself in order to please others won't lead to success. It just leads to resentment. You might start resenting yourself for the fact that you're just unable to say no and put yourself first. And therefore, it also takes a toll on your confidence. Your peace is more productive than constant access. That woman doesn't feel obligated to respond instantly. That woman doesn't let guilt dictate her calendar. She knows that peace can be the most productive and valuable thing. She protects her energy like her future depends on it, because it does. Instead of asking, will they be upset if I say no? She asks, will I be out of alignment if I say yes? Because that is the more important question. A Harvard study found that high performers who practice strategic no's are 50% more likely to experience long-term satisfaction and focus. The 1% woman is not here to be agreeable. She's here to be intentional. And if that means saying no to others in order to honor herself, then so be it. Because she knows that being everything to everyone is the fastest way to be nothing to yourself. Here, let me tell you a secret. Whenever someone invites me to something, doesn't matter if it's like a social event, a networking event, university event, I ask myself, is it a hell yes? Like, do I really want to go? Because if it's not, it's probably a no. I'll do way more productive or fun things if I don't attend that event. On to one of my favorite topics. The 1% women don't buy into toxic hustle culture that glorifies burnout. She doesn't need to work 16-hour days in order to prove her worth. Instead, she learns how to lean into her feminine power. The ability to create from a place of peace and overflow and not exhaustion. The world is probably gonna push you to be better, grind harder, move faster, do more. Work as long as you physically can. And also, if that's not enough, sacrifice everything for success because it's worth it. But the 1% woman knows that true power comes from alignment and not force. She trusts her intuition over her inbox and whatever people are telling her. Also, most importantly, she honors her need for rest without feeling guilty about it. But why is this so important? Because when you lead from a place of balance and self-respect, your decisions are clearer, your actions are more focused, and your energy still stays abundant. The 1% woman understands that working herself into a ground is not a badge of honor, it's a path to burnout. And it's stupid. So instead of trying to outwork everyone, she creates space and time for her to reset and realign. She knows when to step back, listen to her body, and then just let creativity flow without forcing it. So when she does take action again, it's from a place of inspiration, not desperation. 1% woman understands that real power comes from sustaining your energy and not draining it every single day. Because truly, success built on hustle is very fragile. What do you do when you're just incapable of working 16-hour days? Is everything gonna crumble at that moment? Success built on alignment is unstoppable. When you figure out a system that works for you and that doesn't drain it, it becomes more sustainable. And it's not that difficult to maintain that system if you just don't feel energized one day or if you're having a bad week. The 1% woman doesn't live only in the present. She also thinks about her future and she's constantly investing in it. She understands that financial success doesn't come from instant gratification. She understands that she can be educated financially and that it's an important skill to have. She doesn't just believe that money matters should be left to men, that we shouldn't speak about money, that it is a taboo. It is not. If you want to be financially free and not depend on anyone, whether that is a man or a job or your security, then you need to learn about finances. I've made a whole video about this, so if you want to watch that, I'll link it down below so you can learn more. That woman knows that a financially secure future comes from well thought out investments in things that build wealth, security, and freedom over time. So whether it is investing in assets, building multiple income streams, or prioritizing her education, that's also a form of investment. She's always thinking ahead. And you might not want to hear this, but the 1% woman isn't swayed by get-rich-quick schemes or the newest trends. She knows how to control her spending. She doesn't buy things that are unnecessary and that she cannot afford, because by buying them and spending so much money on the newest trends, she's actually compromising her future. She's focused on steady growth that compounds over time. She understands the power of investing. And she also understands that investing isn't just about money. It can also be about investing in yourself. She also puts energy into her mindset, her skills, and her future vision. And she also doesn't fear financial discipline. She sees it as a way to create freedom, not restriction. The 1% woman knows that short-term sacrifices today, like choosing to actually save some money and not just spend everything that you have left at the end of the month on, again, things you don't need, will pay off exponentially tomorrow. In a world that celebrates and thrives on instant gratification, she knows that building a secure future is the ultimate form of self-respect. If you don't see it now, all of the effort that you put into saving, to budgeting, to having multiple income streams, to earning more money will pay off. If you're currently studying, you're getting an education, that is also a form of investment. Real wealth isn't just about accumulating money. It's about investing in your future self so you can live on your own terms. And now be 100% honest with yourself. What are some investments that you can make today that will make you happier, healthier, more at peace in the future? Is that setting a little bit of money aside so you can invest, so you can build a side hustle, a business, investing in your education, investing in your skills, investing time into yourself by just taking an online course and learning how to code or how to edit videos? That is an investment, but investments oftentimes require some sort of sacrifice, and that can either be money or time. So what are you willing to invest? Radical responsibility. The 1% woman doesn't blame other people or circumstances for things that happen in her life. She doesn't point fingers and she doesn't play the victim regarding any of her struggles. Instead, she takes radical responsibility for every part of her life. Her career, her failures, also her successes. She knows that her reality is a direct result of choices and actions. And by owning that, she reclaims her power. The 1% women don't wait for things to change. They make change happen. They recognize that they have the power to transform their life. regardless of external factors. They don't waste time complaining or blaming when other people are not at fault. Instead, they ask themselves, what can I do today to move forward? Radical responsibility means not waiting for the world to give you permission to succeed. It's about taking ownership of your actions, whether they lead to victory or failure. The 1% woman knows that when you take radical responsibility, you stop being the victim of your circumstances and you start being the creator of your own life. And when you own your story, there's no limit to what you can achieve. The habits we explore today aren't just about achieving success. They're about living with purpose and creating a life that's aligned with who you truly are. So ask yourself, what's the next step you should take in order to join the 1%? The choice is yours, and the life you're meant to create is waiting.